Well, U.S. dairy farmers are dumping milk down the drain as stay-at-home orders upend the flow from farm to market. Despite strong demand, the milk supply chain has seen a host of disruptions preventing dairy farmers from getting their products to market. Restaurants and schools are closed, forcing a sudden shift from wholesale food service markets to grocery stores. That creates logistical and packaging nightmares. The dairy business got hit harder and earlier than other agricultural commodities because milk can't be frozen like meat or stuck in a silo like grain. Our supply chain has many vulnerabilities, but the question is, will the coronavirus lead to food shortages? So far, the worst we've seen is empty shelves, but only temporarily. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization says it expects disruptions in food supply between now and May. But what if those stay-at-home orders are reinstated or extended through the summer? Well, joining us tonight is the president of the National Black Farmers Association, Dr. John Boyd. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Let's start first with the question, should we expect food shortages?
And the short answer is yes, because right now is planting season for farmers around the country. And we haven't been able to secure farm operating loans because of the virus. So this is a very troubled time, and we've reached out to the top 10 banks to send out emergency loans to African-American farmers and small-scale farmers alike, where the government is funding them $1 trillion a day. But yet and still, the monies aren't reaching farmers like myself. So right now, there's delays, and farmers really need to be in their fields right now as we're speaking to make sure that we're doing the preparatory work in order to get our crops in the ground in a timely manner.
Indeed. Which products are we in jeopardy of losing?
Well, you're looking at all of your vegetables and the three major commodities that the United States produce, which is corn, wheat, and soybeans. So all those commodities are going to be in trouble as far as farmers being able to plant on time and harvest on time. And we really need to, thank the people, the first persons out there as well. But we also need to recognize America's farmers because these are the persons that put the food in the supermarket. Most people think that is walk into the supermarket and the food is there. That food is grown, and there's a process to how we raise food in the country. And right now it's planting season, and it's the most critical time for farmers. And you can't plant after planting season. You have to find a way to get into the fields and plant those commodities right now.
So you're talking about everything from lettuce, tomatoes, beans?
Potatoes, and onions are grown upstate New York. And then you have your citrus that's grown down in Florida. And then you have the other commodities such as beef cattle. Like I'm a beef cattle farmer. I raise beef cattle. And also raise the three major commodities that I spoke about: corn, wheat, and soybeans, and also some vegetables. And I want to encourage African Americans to start producing food. You know, you're at home and you can go out into your backyards and start planting foods, because the virus is affecting African Americans at an enormous rate. Almost every ailment seems to affect African Americans at an enormous rate. But if we go out and plant some things in our backyard or some things in our house that we can begin to produce our own food, that will be a huge step in the right direction, even after the virus clears up.
My goodness, that sounds very serious. I'm not much of a planter. Is there anything in particular I should be planting right now that for this season?
Well, right now you can plant vegetables right now. So right now is the perfect time to do that. And you can plant tomatoes and onions and cucumbers, lettuce, and some of the other citrus such as watermelons and cantaloupe, and sweet corn. You know, African Americans love sweet corn. So these are things that we can plant in a small quantity. If you own a home, or even if you're in the major cities, you can begin to grow some of these things on your rooftops. So we're going to have to be creative as the virus has really taken the American country by storm and really change the way that we're going to be moving forward in the future as well.
I was just going to say, a lot of Africans may not have the room or a backyard. These are items that you can put in a pot and plant?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Especially things like tomatoes. These are things that you can grow in the pot right in your own home or in your backyards. So these are some things that we have to start to do too. And also, like I said earlier, many people think that food just shows up in the supermarket, but it doesn't. It was grown on someone's farm. I'm a fourth generation farmer, and I learned how to farm from my daddy and grandfather. And these are some things that we would like to pass down to the next generation of farmers. So we need more African Americans interested in land ownership and also producing the next generation of food growers in this country.
My goodness. So what if this pandemic extends? Our countries are hesitant to reopen their borders. What's the impact then?
Well, it's going to be a serious impact. And like I said at the top of the show, there's going to be a food shortage, and there's going to be items that really aren't grown in large capacities in the United States that we just won't simply have a whole lot of access to those commodities. So here again, we're pleading to the administration, the Trump administration right now, to find a way to put pressure on the top 10 banks to release monies to farmers now so that they can begin to plant their crops. For example, I'm really isolated as I can be on my family farm. I'm the only farmer, I'm the only house and the only farm in my whole area, which is about a mile in radius. So I wouldn't have a problem planting my crop. And these are things that people need to understand when you have high populated cities such as New York City and Chicago. You're talking to me in Baskerville, Virginia, and like I said, I don't have a neighbor on my whole road. So if the administration can reach out and find a way to get these monies to farmers now so that they're able to plant those crops, we're going to need that food. We're going to need that food in the coming months, and we have to find creative ways to continue the food chain in this country.
Absolutely. And real quick, don't you need foreign workers or people to help you on the farm? And now you're not getting any of that assistance either?
I think that's going to be a problem, especially for what we call mega farmers. Those farmers that are producing in the 1,000-acre block on up will definitely need migrant labor. But a farmer like myself, I'm a family farmer. We produce our own food and we do all the work here. But for the mega farms out in places like the Corn Belt in Iowa, and some of these places, we're desperately going to need migrant labor in this country. And we need to find ways to make sure that they're part of the food chain. These food workers, they work very, very hard in this country. And my hat's off to them, and I respect that. And we need more people, like I said earlier, to get involved in farming and agribusiness, especially in the African-American community. This isn't a bad occupation. It's hard work, but the work is very rewarding. And right now, you see just how important farmers are. You have doctors and nurses, policemen, and first responders, but you also have farmers that are able to put the food on our table and the food in our freezers and refrigerators.
Absolutely. Our hats off to you. Thank you so much for the work you and other farmers do. And thank you for the important information you've given us tonight.
Thank you for having me.